Health Tech Without Borders is a global nonprofit organization that was created in response to the war in Ukraine almost a year ago. Not long after Health Tech Without Borders began providing telehealth support for healthcare providers in Ukraine, it became clear that providers would benefit from peer-to-peer support as they were facing the task of treating physical and psychological wounds of the civilian population that were brought about by the war. With the recognition of the acute and urgent need, Health Tech Without Borders embarked on development of a new initiative, Helping Healers Heal, or 3H, how we call it here. The initiative started as a pilot project and it was fully launched in August of 2022. At this time juncture that marks the 1-year anniversary of the Health Tech Without Borders, Helping Healers Heal has two ongoing projects. The first project is a peer-to-peer support for Ukrainian therapists, psychologists, and the program involves weekly meetings between 3H volunteers and Ukrainian therapists, during which the therapists are provided with the safe and supportive environment, allowing them to process and discuss their feelings and thoughts about their work with the Ukrainian population traumatized by the war, as well as talk about their own lives that have been significantly affected and dramatically altered by the war in Ukraine. The war changes and challenges the perception of time and space and self, and the opportunity to really talk about it and process it is vital for therapists, not only for sustainability and resilience in a difficult and needed line of work. The Ukrainian population are people who are traumatized by a year-long war and experience loss and grief, separation, destruction of lives, the uncertainty. And the therapists serve as a resource of support. They serve as a grounding presence for the Ukrainians, both adults and children. In therapy, especially in trauma therapy, the use of self is necessary to establish therapeutic alliance and trust. Therapists use themselves as tools of their work, as tools of their craft, which highlights why the support provided by 3H mentors is so vital and needed in times of war. And I would like to actually expand to in times of disasters. At this time, more than 170 hours of support were delivered to Ukrainian therapists who have treated thousands of Ukrainians, adult and children affected by war. With the help of 3H mentors, the Ukrainian therapists are able to continue to be a source of support for those who are displaced, witnessed violence and destruction, for those who have been on occupation territory, those who lost loved ones, experienced sexual violence, or were wounded in a war. The second program that has been developed by 3H volunteers is the program aimed at delivering mental health support for future nurses who are currently students in the medical school in Volyn in Ukraine. This project involves developing and implementing educational and direct support modules that have both didactic and practical components that aim to equip future nurses with coping skills to mitigate symptoms of psychological distress that unfortunately is unavoidable for healthcare providers in times of war, regardless whether they are working on the front lines or in a hospital behind the front lines. Those modules were developed after we conducted a needs assessment of the students that allowed for a better understanding of what is important to the students, what worries them, and what other students face and deal with in their daily lives. The support program includes modules on mindfulness, art therapy. It has some cognitive skill learning to address anxiety and poor sleep. It also helped the students to ground themselves and to process their own feelings related to relationships, school, uncertainty, future, and their hopes. which is, we believe, is a necessary component for resilience and sustainability as they begin their new profession in nursing in the most difficult time in their country. Unfortunately, disasters and wars won't stop, but the Helping Healers Heal program will continue to support those who are on the front lines, both visible and invisible.